the board chairperson of Mips, Mr. David Mwanamu, to make his remarks.
Speaking after the president has spoken, it's not a small task. She seems to have come really prepared to take all members on board and to make sure they understand the programming principles. A big round of applause to you. Our guest of honor, Honorable Ibrahim Matola, the Minister of Energy, the President of the Malawi Institute of Procurement and Supply, the newly elected President, Madam Miriam Salika, the Chief Executive Officer of the Malawi Institute of Procurement and Supply, Dr. Feston Kaupa, the Director General of the Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Authority, Dr. Eddington Chilapondwa, senior government officials present. I recognize a number of faces in this meeting and in this gathering this morning. Members of the Malawi Institute of Procurement and Supply, members of press present here this morning, distinguished conference delegates, distinguished invited guests, members of the press again, and ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to stand before you and speak in this year's annual conference of the Malawi Institute of Procurement and Supply, Mips. Before I proceed in this presentation, allow me to sincerely thank the guest of honor, Honorable Ibrahim Matola, for accepting our invitation to grace this honor. On behalf of the procurement fraternity in the country, and indeed on my own behalf, I have the pleasure in welcoming you, guest of honor, to this year's conference. The guest of honor, ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here not to do business as usual. Our gathering this year looks at difficult enemies that are affecting our country, Mother Malawi. Where every sector is sailing through troubled waters, the global supply chains have been tested more than many organizations have experienced in their lifetime. Organizations have had to remodel their supply chains to ensure continuity of supply, whilst others had to review manufacturing models, returning to stockpiling in some cases and reducing reliance on the just-in-time manufacturing concept. Guest of honor, I can quickly cite an example where, as Malawi, we have had to discard and burn part of the COVID-19 supplies and the vaccines that we received. That was a clear indication of a challenge that we have because of COVID-19. We had to stockpile. The consumption was less than what was anticipated. What did we do? We ended up burning and discarding the COVID-19 vaccine itself. Globally, many organizations have shifted their entire strategic direction, meaning their suppliers from 12 months. They have been replaced by entirely a new suite of suppliers that have come into the supply chain. Business continuity professionals in many organizations will have had a busy year ensuring there is continuity to cover for processes and procedures. The necessary due diligence is performed on very new suppliers on the market. Guest of honor, distinguished delegates, Malawi is facing supply chain and economic challenges caused by the COVID-19. Climate change, energy crisis, your honorable, cyclones, world economic challenges, the Russia-Ukraine war cannot be overemphasized in this aspect. This has seen winding up of many potential companies, empty store shelves in many supermarkets that we have been to, and indeed in major supermarkets, there has been also an escalating living cost in Malawi. The high inflation and exchange rates, longer supply chains and lead times, all these, Your Honorable, have affected our country, and the production sector is no longer working as it were supposed to work. In 2021, the Malawi government launched the Malawi 2063, and whose vision seeks to create an inclusively wealthy and self-reliant nation by 2063. The strategy is aimed at transforming Malawi into a middle-income economy. Subsequently, in February 2022, Malawi Parliament passed a 2.84 trillion Malawi Kwacha national budget for the fiscal year of 2022 to 2023. The theme of the budget is recovering the economy from the global slowdown caused by COVID-19 pandemic. The budget is tailor-made to support achievement of the Malawi 2063. Malawi government is promoting mega farms, vibrant energy and mining operations, vibrant health systems, promotion of tourism activities. Government is therefore relying on resilient supply chain networks in its sectors of the economy as it strives to achieving the 2022-2023 budget objective and the Malawi 2063 agenda. It is against this background that Mips 2022 annual conference is themed Building Resilient Supply Chains During Crisis. This is to provide an opportunity for speakers. I see Madam Dube here, and Dr. Bechani Cheren will be here speaking on the same. We will be providing an opportunity for the speakers and delegates to interrogate what Malawi needs to do to sail through this economic crisis. The 2022 conference aims at equipping these delegates in front of you, guests of honor, with attitudes, knowledge, and skills on how they can build resilient supply chain systems during crisis and contribute to the enhancement of organization performance, achievement of the national budget and the Malawi 2063. Guests of honor, ladies and gentlemen, we have multiple problems in this country. The procurement processes in Malawi are still facing challenges due to lack of proper organizational structures and non-proactive leadership. The Madam President has elaborated and articulated a number of challenges, and I will not labor to go into those again in my speech. This calls for support from companies, organizations, and the government in that we do the right things. But for others to take us seriously, members, existing procurement specialists should take lead in transforming ways of thinking as well as achieve organizational setups on issues of morality and motivation. I can tell you, members, that dishonest and corrupt professionals are toxic to the government. Dishonest and corrupt professionals are toxic to the government. Let the people see that we aim to bring about transformation in the organizations we are serving. In short, our commitment to excellence will drive others to support us and not other ones. The former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan once famously said, and I quote, "We have famous means and the capacity to deal with our problems, if only we can find the political will." The political will is here. The political will is here. Therefore, let us develop the political will and exhibit it. In His Excellency's speech at the launch of the Presidential Delivery Unit, Dr. Lazarus Chairperson said, and I will quote this the way he said it. Open quote, it is possible to have a good driver, a good mechanic, and a good minibus, but still fail to deliver goods we promised Malawians because the conductors failed or forgot to put goods on the bus or failed to protect the goods from damage, theft, or loss along the way. End of quote. Excuse my accent. Honorable Minister, for this Tonse government to deliver, it needs the team gathered here this morning. For this government to build the roads it promised Malawians, Honorable Minister, we need well-trained supply chain professionals gathered here this morning. And for this Tonse government to deliver on its promise to ensure that there is food security in this country, it has to involve the professionals in here. And for Malawians to have access to power, fuel, medicines in the hospitals, it needs these professionals to ensure the supply chain is managed to the end user professionally. Honorable Minister, I can go on and on and on in mentioning areas where you need to involve these people, as we are very relevant in this country and the whole world. On top of that, Honorable Minister, we are committed to our work. Let me talk about principles underpinning resilience. Guest of honor, distinguished delegates, let me now briefly speak about building resilience by explaining some few principles of resilience which I believe will be important as we meet and discuss at this conference. Determining the appropriate practices to manage supply chain vulnerability appears to be context specific and dependent, among other things, on supply chains' response to the need for operational excellence. There are 4 general principles that I will quickly speak about. 1 is the issue about risk considerations. 2, we need to do a risk management. And 3, we need to have supply chain resilience that implies agility. And when Dr. Gaupa, the CEO, was mentioning about the way you responded to the call that you are going to be part of this congregation, Honorable Minister, it felt that you are one of those agile ministers that are present in the cabinet. It was not easy for you to accept our invitation at such a short notice. Guest of honor, distinguished delegates, at a tactical level, a set of activities should be carried out to prepare for and handle disruptions. These activities are outlined as follows. 1, there is need to do risk identification process. The issues of fuel crisis we are having, the issues of power blackouts we are having, Honorable Minister, there are issues that require this risk identification and management process. The risk assessment process, where you look at the livelihood versus the impact and cost. We had a similar challenge yesterday, let me mention this, Honorable Minister, when we were having our elections for the President, where we had planned that we would do an electronic kind of voting. To our dismay, we were also disappointed by the power challenges because the server, which is based in Zimbabwe, failed to respond to our needs, and therefore we had to resort to a backup system where we used the proper manual ballot system. That's why we are very concerned, Honorable Minister, that we need to take part in the solutions of providing power to this country. As we talk about building resilience, there will be a lot of people who will not believe that procurement and supply chain specialists can contribute towards anything meaningful. My fellow professionals, may I appeal to you to be the first ones to come up with solutions to the problems we are facing, and then be the first ones to believe in the solutions. Because when we believe in something, we become the first ones to defend it. I have no doubt that we shall come up with solutions which the nation is going to benefit from. Let us show them that we find solutions that work. Let us show them the world that we can build resilience in our sector in times of crisis. Let us show them that we can. I have to say this, that no alien will come and work wonders in Malawi. The problems of Malawi will be solved by Malawians. My appeal to you, Honorable, if I remember the words of the previous president, Dr. Bagiri Musa, so, Honorable Minister, let me make this appeal on behalf of the members who are gathered here this morning. We want you, Honorable Minister, to help us enforce the law. Malawi has got good laws, and we want you, Honorable Minister, to help us enforce the law, so that we have registered professionals that are carrying out procurement duties within the offices, because that is what the law says. Otherwise, we still have a long walk to delivery of the promises that the Tonse government has made to Malawians and the world at large. And with this so-called few remarks, Honorable Minister, I have the pleasure to invite you, guest of honor, to address the gathering this morning. I thank you all. Thank you.